to our next topic. Our next topic is brought to us by Yahoo Fantasy. Today is the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show Fantasy Draft. We got Evan 419 in studio for the live draft this afternoon. We are going back to using the Yahoo Fantasy app for our fantasy football league, which is by far the best decision we have ever made. If you guys haven't drafted already, time is ticking, but you can still get in all the action on Yahoo to celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness. Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big features over the next couple of days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to begin. Stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That is yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL, and let's make this season the best one yet. All right, guys. I scoured the interweb over the last couple of days, finding some of the most talked about parts of this matchup between the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals to kick off week 1. So I'm going to give you guys some of these storylines. You tell me if you're buying into them or if you're selling them. Simple concept, simple buy or sell. I give you the storyline. You tell me whether you think they're real or they're a load of hooey. Let's start with the first one. Buying or selling this. The Bengals always start off slow bowl, so that favors the Browns on Sunday. Does the past slow starts for Cincinnati have any impact on what's going to happen in 2025 or no? What say you, Bull?
I mean, you could argue that it has in the past. I think the biggest difference, and if the Bengals don't play great on Sunday, it wouldn't shock me. But the biggest difference this year from any other year, this is the first time that Joe Burrow has played in the preseason. First time in his career. In 2020, it was COVID. And then 2021, he was coming off the knee injury. 2022, I can't remember what the injury was, but he had a slow. He didn't.
Was it the appendix?
That was 23.
It was the Achilles, wasn't it?
Was 2022 yes, that's right. 2022, he didn't tear his Achilles, but he was dealing with
it was tender or something.
It was a tender Achilles at the beginning of the season. 23, he had the emergency appendix right as training camp started. 24, he's coming off the wrist surgery.
Yeah, the wrist thing.
This is the first offseason that there's been no COVID. He's fully healthy. And there's – plus, last year you had Jamar Chase was not practicing because he was kind of holding in. Didn't have any of that. And he played in 2 preseason games. So I would expect the Bengals offense, which on paper is probably the best in football, one of the best in football, to be better in week 1 than they've been in years past. But it's a hump they've got to get over. It's a legit storyline. It's a legit thing to bring up that they've been crap to start. I think they've gone 0-2 to start the year, either 3 or 4 years in a row. I can't remember how many it's been. I know it's at least 3. So it's a fair thing to bring up, whether it's going to matter this time.
You buying it? Or you selling
I'm not worried about it, no.
You selling it?
But, yes, I am selling it. However, I was selling it last year, and they lost. So
Man,
who knows?
To me, it's gambler's fallacy, man. Hey, listen, just because I bet on black 6 times does not mean that the 7th time is more possible that red is going to come up.
It's fair.
That's a good point.
So for me, this is a random sample size. Guess what? The Bengals are different. They got different people on the team. It's a different year. It's a different everything. So the past results don't really statistically or historically mean that the Bengals are going to come out because they did it the last couple of years and come out and just lay an egg. I would rather rely on the fact of over the long haul, Joe Burrow is really good. And I would then put my money on the fact that he'll probably be really good this game or somewhere in a realm where it puts them in a position that they'll have a competitive game. So, no, I'm not buying it. Again, I'm game to game. You got to come out and prove it. You got to come out and show it. No, I'm not buying the Bengals are going to somehow look at last year and be like, oh, we're going to be trashed tomorrow. No, I don't believe it.
Well, it makes it a clean sweep then because I'm selling it as well for the simple fact that, all these other years, the Joe Burrow thing was a big deal. I think that him going out in the preseason and them looking already in midseason form in the preseason, don't get me wrong, I know it's the preseason, I know what y'all going to say, but for them to look the way that they look, him and Jamar in that preseason game, I was like, yeah, they ready to go. So I think for them, they are heavy emphasizing trying to look good in week 1, and I think they will on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, obviously that's going to be a struggle because Trey Hendrickson missed all of camp.
Most of it.
Shamar Stewart I think did he? No,
He
I think
signed about a week late.
A week later,
Yeah.
something like that. So I just think it's
You
going to
think he's going to be good?
I think that he will benefit from Trey Hendrickson. I think that everybody, because his thing is he does a really good job at getting pressure, but he doesn't get sacks. So what if the pressure, if he's good at getting pressure, that means he's getting there. What if the quarterback is so busy eluding Trey that he runs into him?
Yeah, right.
Like, that could help him out a lot.
And as a defensive lineman, with two guys haven't played a lot, September is still kind of warm outside.
Yeah.
And the worst thing you could do as a defensive lineman is be hot, out of shape, and they running the football. What the Browns don't want to get into an issue is they get in 3rd and long, and now you can bring them dudes in, and they could just rush the passer. That's easy. Everybody want to rush the passer. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So they got to make sure that they stay within manageable downs of distance so they can mix it up. But, conditioning may be an issue if they can keep them on long drives.
Honestly, I'd be so much more confident that the Browns will win this game if Quinshawn was playing. Yeah. Like, the fact that they're not, because I think about, how DJ Reader isn't there. I don't know who's the defensive tackle?
B.J. Hill and
is it Osai?
Probably would be a starter. I'm not sure who's the
that's what I'm
second starter.
saying. Like, I feel like they missing an opportunity to be able to run the ball effectively down the middle because DJ Reader was like the Nick Chubb stopper. Like, when he was in there, like, Nick Chubb couldn't even run the ball. So I feel like if they had that run, not saying that Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford can't or won't, but that's just typically not their thing.
Yeah, that's
like
not.
They're more outside zone type of guys. So.
And listen, when you go back and people always say they want to run what Stefanski wants to run. Stefanski runs. Go back and look and really go back and drill down in 2020, 2021, 2022. Go back and look at them. The Cleveland Browns were in the top 10 in attempts, yards per carry, average. That's what they was built on.
Yeah.
So now you're like, okay, we'll just go back to that. Well, it's easier said than done. You need guys that can get you those yards. You need Jerome Ford to be able to get you 3 yards when somebody's unblocked.
Nick Chubbs don't grow on trees.
No, they do not at all.
All right, Mike, what's the second story?
The second storyline, something we kind of talked about a little earlier. And Tyvis, I'll let you start on this one because you brought it up. But the second storyline I want to know if you are buying or selling is this. Cincinnati's defense is atrocious. The Browns may not have the world's greatest offense, but they'll be able to move the ball and score at will against these guys. Ty, you buying into the fact that the Bengals defense may be as bad as it looked at certain points of the preseason?
I was feeling this entire quote until the score at will part.
Yeah, there you go.
That kind of
at will.
That's a little too far.
Isn't the Browns' offense atrocious too?
Even me, that's too far to be able to say that. So I was buying. If you take out that part, I buy the rest of that sentence. Listen, man, I think that when you got a new defensive coordinator in there, it takes time. I think the Browns was special because when they got Jim Schwartz, you immediately seen the impact. But they also had generational talent. You had the key things that you need on defense. You had the defensive end. You seen JOK take it to the next level, and you had Denzel Ward. Those are like 3 key things that you need on every level, and the Browns had that. When you look at Cincinnati, they got Logan Wilson, they got Trey Hendrickson. Everybody else is a question mark. I don't really know who the heck is out there.
Can't you say the same thing about the Browns?
No, I can't.
Besides Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward?
No.
Who's also is not a question mark?
I know Malik Collins is good. I know Alex
Is
Wright
Malik
is
Collins
good.
any better than B.J. Hill?
Yeah. He's a good player.
So,
listen, I'm telling y'all right now, Malik Collins gonna make some plays. Y'all gonna be like, where this guy coming? Don't be like, well, Tyvis been told y'all that.
That's not the guy. Defensive lineman. What I'm worried about.
You worried about linebacker?
I'm worried about your people.
The
secondary
guys on your corners. I want my corners.
Listen, man. Listen, I don't know what they. I don't know.
All right,
what is the big deal with that?
Every year, Tyvis, we had a conversation.
But getting back to our offense versus their
Yes.
defense, no, I do believe that Stefanski's going to do a great job of dialing things up, and I do believe that Harold Fanning and David Njoku's going to play a big part. I think that 12 personnel thing really going to change the game because I don't know, outside of Logan Wilson, I'm not really familiar with the rest of their linebackers. I don't know if these guys are athletic enough to hang with these guys because it's not like the Browns are going to come out in 12 personnel. They're going to run nickel. That's not the case. They're going to run base.
I think their second starter at linebacker is a rookie, their second-round pick. I can't think of his name right now.
According to Our Lads Bowl, which
Yeah.
is the best website to get
Yeah,
depth
who do they
charts,
have as their other starting linebacker?
Demetrius Knight.
Yeah, he was their second-round pick. I don't remember where he's
he-
from.
is he-
South Carolina.
See, they're gonna test him then. That's what I'm saying. Like I think that they showed you a little glimpse in that last game against the Rams. Like I think they do got a plan for Harold Fanning Jr.
I think he's
and
gonna be a
David
big part of the
Like I think that
offense,
I really do think that that's gonna cause some fits. I really do.
I think they score. I think they'll be able to put up some points. I got them at least getting 21 points.
I do too.
So you'll get 21 points. I think that where it comes down to is that when you look at this game, it's going to come down to, okay, how many turnovers do the Browns have? Special teams, do you convert on your kicks? And when you get an
We got
opportunity,
Schmidt. We good.
we'll see. I don't know.
How is it Schmidt? It's SMYZT. How the hell is that Schmidt?
Listen,
Wait, there's no C in there?
Trust the process.
hey, so when we get down there, can you score touchdowns? But here's the thing: when you're playing at Joe Burrow, like you can't just get 21 like that. You see what I'm saying? Like you could have a nice off. The Browns could totally come out and Joe Flacco could throw for like 300, and it looked good. 300, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yeah.
And they still lose by 10, 13 points. And that's because you got guys on the other end, T. Higgins, game changer. Jamar Chase, game changer. You know Joe Burrow going to be able to throw the football. So my thing is, you need to have
Chase Brown.
Chase Brown. They got a lot of explosive players. And that's the thing about this game is the Browns literally all year, we're going to say it, they're going to have to play complementary football. So the offense, the defense can't be letting guys get quick plays. The offense can't go 3 and out. They got to play like they got a game plan. They got to play like you playing Madden and somebody's team is a 90 and yours is an 82. You just got to ball control. You're going to have to punt.
Yeah.
Don't be throwing deep balls every play. That's the way they're going to have to play. So no, the at-will part, that's crazy. They will score some points, though.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to listen, what do I think about the Bengals defense? I don't think it's going to be good. Well, I know it's not going to be good. The question is it going to be like historically bad like it was for the first 2/3 of last season? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be normal bad like it was the last third of last season? Or can they get to the point where they're serviceable?
Right.
If the Bengals defense is serviceable, they can win the Super Bowl because they have – I don't think any team's got more talent on offense than they do. If it's terrible, if it's historically bad, yeah, they're going to be a 500 team or just above it. Maybe they'll make the playoffs, but ultimately they'll lose because you can't overcome the worst defense in football. You can overcome a mediocre or even below average one, I think. But for this game specifically, I don't know what to expect from the Bengals because I know they were Trey Hendrickson didn't play in the preseason, so you didn't really see what they're going to do. They have a new DC, and supposedly the whole camp plan was they were going to show nothing in training camp at all, nothing in the preseason. But one thing you can either do or you can't is tackle, and they tackled poorly in the preseason. Mm-hmm. So that's something like that doesn't have anything to do with scheme. You can tackle, you can't, and that's been an issue for them. You're right. There's a lot of areas where I'm like, I don't know if this guy can play. There's not one guy in their secondary I'm sure is good. Now they got young players.
You don't like Cam Taylor-Britt and Dax Hill?
I like them, but I'm not sure they're like
they were
short
saying,
things.
Like 2 years ago, I want to say it was
Cam
Big
Taylor-Britt's-
Baby that said
yeah.
Cam Taylor-Britt was going to be that dude.
Cam Taylor-Britt is good, but he's got more to prove. He was hurt last year for a lot of the year, and like they just got a lot of young players that got a lot to prove. Now that could end up they're 4 or 5 of them emerge, and their defense is solid. It could also be none of those guys can play, and their defense is terrible. So I think it's fair to say that the Browns are going to score at will. The Browns' defense on paper is as bad as the Bengals. I'm sorry, the Browns' offense on paper is as bad as the Bengals' defense. So you could say that about both. Like you could also say, well, the Bengals' defense stinks, but they're playing a terrible Browns offense, so maybe they'll actually look good. I don't know. I'll tell you, if one of those units, the Browns offense, I know it's only week 1, so you don't want to overdo it, but if one of those units gets dominated, Bengals defense versus the Browns offense, that is a terrible sign for that unit.
That leads us to our next one, Bull, which is the Browns defense versus the Bengals offense. And, G, we'll start with you on this one as our resident lineman. It's pretty simple. The Bengals offensive line is abysmal. Myles Garrett and company are going to live in the backfield.
That's factually incorrect. But go ahead.
I'm taking storylines that other people are talking about, and that's why we are either buying or selling it. So, G, are you buying or selling the fact that the Bengals offensive line is abysmal and the Browns have a chance to wreak havoc on Joe Flacco?
I would say that
on Joe Burrow. You said Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, excuse me.
I would say that I wouldn't use the word abysmal. I do believe that if you want to say the Browns have an advantage up front, I would say that just because of the style they play. Myles Garrett is the best defensive lineman in the league. Obviously, he's going to make plays, right? What it's going to come down to is I want to see what's going on with guys like Mason Graham. Again, one of the guys who we haven't really talked much about, we haven't really seen that much. I want to see him in action. What is he going to – again, you're a top 5 pick. You expect those guys to be instantaneous playmakers, not next week or we'll get you 2-3 years. You're supposed to be an instantaneous game record. He did that at Michigan. I want to see if he can do that. You said Malik Collins. I actually think he's going to make some plays too. I think the Bengals may have a hard time running the football against the Browns. Here's the problem. They prefer to throw the rock, especially given what we got in the secondary. They might not even really try to run it like that. They coming into the game telling them like, look, one of the biggest things is they better get home because you have Greg Newsome on whoever they got, right?
T. Higgins.
But I'm asking, and we ask this all the time.
Is Denzel traveling?
That's it.
I don't know.
The answer should be yes.
It should be yes, but we won't know until they kick that ball
There
on
should
Sunday.
never be a 0 on one action. There should never be Greg Newsome lined up.
You can if you're in zone.
Yeah, I guess, but we don't do zone like that. We always
you need to give them a smoke break.
We always seem to be messing zone coverage up. So to me, this is crazy. So to me, I think the defensive line, Alex Wright, I think Isaiah McGuire, JTS, I think those guys will get home. I think the Browns will move around and they may get 3, 4, 5 sacks in this game. However, they're going to give up some plays in the secondary too. So it's even.
And that's the thing. First of all, the Bengals offensive – people make a big thing about the offensive line every year. The Bengals offensive line has never been good when Joe Burrow's been there. Never. And yet, they always score a ton of points. So, like you said, they might sack him 7 times. Unless he gets hurt, he's still going to have 40 plays to throw the ball down the field. You can't sack him every play.
Yeah.
The quality of the offensive line is almost irrelevant when it comes to Myles Garrett. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't matter.
He's getting his.
He's going to make his plays.
It's only been one person that I've ever seen shut down Myles, and that's Laramie Tunsil against Houston.
He did have a really good game.
I didn't mention Miles' name not one time that game.
Now,
that Texans game was nasty.
The Bengals tackles are actually pretty good. That's their strength, and their center's good. Guard is where they have an issue. And so, that's where Mason Graham comes in. He's going to be on the right tackle. That's their weak spot. So the Bengals are starting at left guard. They're starting a rookie named Dylan Fairchild, I think out of Georgia. He was their 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, out of Georgia, correct.
The right guard thing is interesting. The Bengals have not even named the starter.
they still got the right guard battle going.
Yeah. So here's the thing. They had another rookie, a late-round pick, and a veteran journeyman battling for that right guard spot. I think they both suck.
They just signed
but they signed, what's his name? Dalton Reisner.
Yeah.
Who's been a good, solid, not a star, but a good, solid guard in the NFL. Hasn't given up a sack in 2 years. I don't know why they took so long to sign him, but they just signed him a week ago. I don't care that he just got here. If I'm them, I'm starting him.
He's a guard, right?
He's a guard. I'm starting him, no doubt. And he's a pro. I mean, the guy's been a solid player. So this idea of the Bengals offensive line, I actually think with Reisner, now again, the left guard's a rookie, who knows?
That's fair.
But this has a chance to be the best Bengals offensive line under Burrow's tenure because, like I said, it's the first time they've had 2. Mims, their right tackle, he was really good as a rookie. And he got better as the season went along. Their left tackle is, what's his name?
Orlando Brown.
Orlando Brown Jr. He's a little overrated, but he's solid. He's solid.
He's good enough.
Yeah, their center is good. And the right guard, again, if it's the guy they signed, he's been a solid player. We'll see.
What?
If Fairchild, as a third-round pick, again, it wasn't like a sixth-round pick, if Fairchild is solid as a rookie, their offensive line should be fine. But I'm still expecting the Browns, like G said, to get there 4, 5, 6 sacks. It's going to happen. Joe Burrow holds the ball a lot of plays. Mm-hmm. He takes the blame for it. You know, the offensive line has taken a lot of crap. But Joe will tell you, a lot of those sacks have been on him over the years because he holds the ball sometimes because he wants every last second to make a play.
All sacks, and here's the thing. This is a cheat code. I shouldn't tell you this because this might cost people some money.
Oh, boy.
All sacks are not created equal.
That's true.
Let me give you this. It's second and 5. You run play action. That's a play action down. Nobody ain't open. You step up in the pocket. You get sacked for a 2-yard loss. It's 3rd and 7.
Yeah.
That is not moving nobody's earth. It's 3rd and 7 to Joe Burrow. Do you think he's worried about that? He's like, I'll take that little 2-yard sack, and I'll get in shotgun 3rd and 7, and this is manageable for me. So sometimes the sack numbers look a certain way, right? You could be a defensive end and have production, but that production don't equal to impact. Sometimes, like if you're a corner, right? If you're a cornerback and they throw a Hail Mary up or a miscommunication and it's 3 receivers down there and you pick the ball off at the 5-yard line, you probably should have knocked it down. Then they can punt and we can flip the field. But nobody's going to tell that guy. Look.
Crazy.
So
You're right. That happens a lot.
And so we like, oh, cool. Now you caught an interception inside your own 10. You're going to run the ball 3 plays and now punt it to us and we inside the 50.
Yeah.
Good point. It looks good. But really, is it impactful like that? Not really. So, yeah, sacks are going to happen. All of them aren't created equally. I hate holding penalties worse because now you're screwed. It's 1st and 20. Get that. So, but yeah, the Browns will get home. It's a risk reward though. Can you get home with 4 and keep people in coverage, or is it you gonna have guys in coverage and blitzing? What are you gonna do with this? It's not gonna be created equally, but I will say, I'm looking forward to see the chess matchup to see what's going to happen.
Another chess matchup we're going to be watching is the next storyline we're going to talk about. Before we do that, a quick reminder that the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season's almost here. FanDuel is making sure you're ready to kick off with a can't-miss offer right now. New customers can bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com/UCSS to get you started. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS to place your first $5 bet. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of UCSS. All right, guys, storyline number 5. This one's been talked about a lot, including on this show in a way. It is this. Denzel Ward owns Jamar Chase. He won't go off in week 1. Tyvis, what say you?
What are the exact? I'd like to know the numbers.
I have the numbers. Are you ready, actually?
Yes.
And if you would so kindly give me 294, please. I did the research for you guys to give you a little context. But Jamar Chase has played 7 games against the Browns. In those 7 games, he's been targeted 61 times for 38 receptions, 404 yards, and 3 touchdowns. If you divide 404 divided by 7, it comes out to 57.7 yards per game, significantly lower than his average against every other team in football. At least his career. I didn't do that team by team, but
I'd like to see a game log on it, and we don't know how often is it Denzel versus other guys. I mean, Denzel has, again, we've talked about this. Denzel's played Jamar Chase better than any corner in the league, and it's not close. I wouldn't say, I think owning him is a little strong. I don't even think Denzel Ward would say that.
There's always something in there that's
it's like a little too far. Yeah.
When you think about matchups, it's the NFL. You see some of the most legendary matchups, and it just depends on how that day is going. You might just get the best of them that day. That's like DK versus Jalen Ramsey. That was good must-see TV. But sometimes DK won, sometimes Jalen won. Or Jalen versus D-Hop. Like, it's the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
you got two guys who's at the prime of their career, who's at the absolute best at their position or one of the best. Like, you never can really dictate who's going to win that matchup. Like, I'm not about to sit there and say Denzel's going to go out there and shut Jamar Chase down, but I'm also not going to go out there and say Jamar Chase is going to bomb him for 200 yards. But both of them could happen, but I can't anticipate which one will happen.
It sounds like one of them duels like back in the day where like somebody disrespected you. You got to just pull out swords and fight to the death. You'd be like, man, like that's wild, bro. Like they got something right here with these two dudes that they can really, one side can really overpower. Like say for instance, if you got Cincinnati just seems to be like, yeah, we got Jamar Chase. He's not gonna run nothing spectacular. He's just better than you. So go out there and do this.
Yeah.
But if they put him in the slot and moved him around, it would be nasty. They just like, nah, we ain't gonna do it. Denzel Ward, he's one of the best corners. If they follow around Denzel Ward and they say, you gonna go where the best receiver go, he shut a lot of people down. But they're like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna play him over here. Whoever's over here is over here. So for me, this matchup is gonna come down to who decide to make that wrinkle? Who decide they're gonna change up the tendency and say, this is what we're going to do to give us a little bit of an advantage. For me, I know Denzel Ward is a dope corner. I will say he has the best chance of slowing Jamar Chase down and limiting his opportunities because Denzel Ward has one thing. Denzel Ward has elite recovery speed. Some corners, they get behind, right? They get beat, and then all of a sudden, they look like their hamstrings tight, their back they start grabbing and tripping and falling. Head back, they just tight. Your boy Denzel Ward, he don't even be panicking. He be comfortable. He be like, yeah, I'm still here.
He was nicknamed the Flash until Miles came and took the name.
Yeah. Man, his feet, he be running around his upper body. I like these DB drills. Their body be sideways. They be just doing this. Here's
the last five Jamar Chase games against the Browns. I'm not 100% sure if Denzel played in all these games. So, Mike, maybe you could find that out. But last 3 years, because when the Bengals played the Browns in the first time in 22, that was on Halloween. Jamar Chase didn't play. That was the game that Chase didn't play. T. Higgins got hurt. And remember their DB coach?
DB coach said we weren't ready for
Right. So, okay.
That was the saddest thing I've ever heard.
That was the end of his career.
The whole coaching staff got to go.
All right, so since then, here's Jamar Chase, the 5 games against the Browns. Again, I don't know for sure Denzel Ward played him. You could tell me, Mike. Second game in 22, Jamar Chase had a big game, caught 10 of 15 targets, 119 yards and a touchdown. So that was a win for him. Again, I don't know for sure whether Denzel played in that game. Then 23, Jamar Chase had 2 terrible games against the Browns. First game, remember the Browns won 24-3 in the opener in 23? Mm-hmm. Jamar Chase, 5 catches, 9 targets, 39 yards, no touchdowns.
It was raining.
Yeah, it was raining that game.
Right. That was a game.
It was
a really ugly game. Second game that year was the last game of the season. I think, if I remember correctly,
Denzel did not play in the game in 23 where he went off, by the way.
Okay, so Denzel didn't play in that
at least no, I take that back. He did.
Oh, he did.
Okay.
He
did.
Which game did Denzel Ward?
He did play in that. Hand up, my bad.
What game did he play? It was the last game of the season, and he only played like two plays or something.
I think it was this game. It was the last game of the season in 24. He had 4 catches, 19 yards. I think he was trying to break the.
Yeah, that's it. And they took
some
him out.
sort of receiving record. Yeah. I can't remember what it was for.
I thought that was his rookie year.
Was that his rookie year?
It was like
Who
the
knows?
rookie receiving yard record, wasn't it?
Wasn't it Baker? Was Baker still playing?
Yeah.
Last year was kind of in between. First matchup, Chase had 5 catches on only 6 targets, but 55 yards, but a touchdown. Second game, he had 6 catches, 8 targets, 97 yards, and a touchdown. So not a lot of targets for him in either of those games. It was the least amount of targets Jamar Chase had in the final 10 weeks. Listen to Jamar Chase targets last 10 games last year. Targets, 11, 11, 17, 13, 9, 18, 11, 8 against the Browns, 15, 14. So clearly Joe Burrow threw to him less against the Browns than he did against anybody else. So it's been a good matchup. I don't think it's been I don't think it's clear. Denzel Ward hasn't dominated the matchup, but he's had some really good games against Jamar Chase, has played him better than anyone else. Jamar Chase has said multiple times that Denzel covers him better than anybody in the league. So it's a spot where normally the Bengals have a massive advantage, and I think to me it's a wash. Elite receiver, elite corner.
The real storyline is the other matchup.
See? Yeah, there you go.
That's the one.
There you go.
This one could be a wash, but that other side, that's the matchup. That's what dictates the game.
That is.
And Mike Gesicki versus Delpit in the red zone.
The Bengals also, it's going to be interesting. They have 5 tight ends on their roster. They signed Noah Fant, too. And then Chase Brown, they're going to use him a lot out of the back.
Yeah, I like Schlesinger because he can cover well.
Yeah.
Who's that other? Who the other safety?
Who's the other safety that started? Ronnie Hickman.
It's Hickman is the other starting safety right now.
Or Casey.
So who's and then the Bengals
nickel?
And then
who's the starting nickel? That's a great question.
Yeah. Yeshavas. I can't even remember how to pronounce his name.
Kevin Stefanski doesn't speak today. He does speak tomorrow, so we'll maybe get an update on the alignment of who will be. I doubt he'll actually give us anything. I wouldn't imagine to give away that tactical advantage. But that leads us to our final storyline before we welcome Mary Kay on here in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
But it's something I don't necessarily 100% agree with. This is one I found online, and I'm just going to ask you the question because I don't like how I typed it up. Does Cleveland have a major coaching advantage here? Does Kevin Stefanski still hold that major edge over Zach Taylor, or has that kind of been pushed aside after what we saw last year?
I mean, the Bengals have more talent, but the Bengals have won 3 in a row and 4 out of 5 in the matchup. Early in their head-to-head, Stefanski was winning. It seemed like every time.
He lost to him, right?
What's that?
He never lost to him until a couple years ago, right?
3 years ago.
3 years.
So the Bengals have won 3 in a row and 4 of 5. So it's hard to say that. If you ask me who I think the better coach is, I think Kevin Stefanski's probably a better coach. I'm not a big Zach Taylor fan. But I don't know that there's, how do you back that up? How do you decide is it Kevin Stefanski's won 1 playoff game and he wasn't there. So, you could say, well, one guy's got Joe Burrow, the other guy doesn't. Okay, sure.
Who's a better coach comes down to preference.
Yeah, right.
Based on arbitrary things you like about coaches, right?
Yeah.
Some people like, oh, he's more open. I like coaches who are open. I like him. More coaches. Some coaches, are tough-nosed and they say all the crazy stuff. Rah guys. They like those guys. But when it comes down to actual X's and O's and what it is,
he below 500.
I can't give Kevin Stefanski where did that come from? They won 4 out of 5. They got better players. They got a better offense. I can't just say because I like Kevin Stefanski. That's it. I don't understand where that came from. What do you mean?
Well, because he's won 2 Coach of the Year awards, of course. That's what it always comes back to.
I think it's one of those things that until a few years ago, that was the thing. Kevin owns them,
right, and that's kind of gone away.
Man,
now,
you can blame that on
Kevin has had success with bad quarterbacks, some level of success, where Zach Taylor has only succeeded with Joe Burrow. Now, they played well with what's his name who got
Browning.
Browning.
You're doing horrific. Yeah. You are in off-season form on names right now.
I can't think of any names right now. They won with Browning, but they didn't make the playoffs.